Hello, everyone. Today we will talk about 7 powerful communication skills. How can you speak to people in a way that makes them listen to you instead of ignoring you? Why do some people speak only a few words, yet everyone pays attention to them? And why do others keep talking, but people still lose interest? In this lesson, you will learn simple ways to speak with confidence, choose the right words, and make people understand and remember what you say. Let's begin. Skill 1. Speak with confidence. You may know the right English words, but when it is time to speak, something changes. Your voice becomes quiet. You start thinking too much. You worry about your grammar. You worry about your pronunciation. You think, what if I make a mistake? Then you speak less than you wanted to. This is a very common problem. The good thing is that your English does not need to be perfect before you can speak with confidence. Confidence starts when you stop waiting for perfection. Think about a simple situation. Someone asks you, "What do you think about this?" You know the answer. You have the words in your mind, but you are not sure about your English. So you say, "I don't know," or you give a very short answer. Later, you think about the conversation and realize that you could have said much more. The problem was not your knowledge. The problem was fear. You were more focused on your mistakes than your message. Confidence does not mean speaking loudly. It does not mean using difficult English. It does not mean acting like you know everything. Real confidence is much simpler. It means you are comfortable saying what you think, even when your English is not perfect. You can make a small mistake and continue speaking. You can forget a word and use another word. You can pause for a moment and then continue. That is confidence. Many people wait for the perfect time to become confident. They think when my grammar gets better, I will speak. Then they learn more grammar. After that, they find another problem. My vocabulary is not big enough. They learn more words. Then they think, my pronunciation is not good. They practice pronunciation. There is always another reason to wait, but confidence does not come from waiting. It comes from using what you already know. Start with simple sentences. You do not need to give a long speech. If someone asks, "How was your day?" you can say, "It was good. I was busy at work, but I finished everything." That is enough. Speak clearly. Look comfortable. Do not rush. Your English may be simple, but your message is clear. That is what matters. There is another small change that can make a big difference. Stop saying sorry before you speak English. If you make a mistake, you do not need to say, "Sorry, my English is bad." You are learning. You are speaking. That is already progress. Instead, continue your sentence. If you use the wrong word, correct it and move on. For example, you can say, "Yesterday I go to the market." Sorry, I mean, "Yesterday I went to the market." Then continue. Nobody expects you to speak without mistakes. Your voice also matters. When people feel nervous, they often speak too quietly or too quickly. They want to finish before anyone notices their mistakes. Slow down, take a breath, give your words some space. Say, "I think this is a good idea." Do not hide the sentence inside a nervous voice. Say it like you believe what you are saying. There is a simple exercise you can start today. Choose one easy topic. It can be your morning, your job, your studies, your family, or something you watched today. Speak about it for 1 minute. Do not stop to correct every mistake. Keep going. If you forget a word, explain it in another way. If your grammar is not perfect, continue. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is to train your mind to stay calm while speaking. Do this every day, and something slowly changes. The words become easier to find. Your voice becomes more natural. You stop being afraid of small mistakes. You begin to trust yourself. One day, you may notice something important. You are no longer thinking about every single word before you say it. You are simply speaking. That is a powerful moment for an English learner. You realize that fluency is not only about knowing more English, it is also about being brave enough to use the English you already know. But there is another problem. You can speak with confidence and still lose people's attention. You can have a strong voice, but if your words are confusing, people may not understand your message. Speaking confidently is only the beginning. The next skill is about making your English simple, clear, and easy to follow. Because when people understand you easily, they are much more likely to keep listening. Skill 2. Use simple and clear words. Sometimes the problem is not that you do not know enough English. The problem is that you are trying too hard to sound intelligent. You may search for difficult words because you think good English must sound complicated. You may build a long sentence because you want to show what you know. But when the sentence becomes too difficult, the person listening to you has to work hard to understand it. And when people have to work too hard, they can lose interest. Good communication is not about showing how many English words you know. It is about making your idea easy to understand. A simple sentence can be stronger than a complicated one. Think about these two sentences. I would like to express my dissatisfaction regarding this situation. It sounds formal, but it is not easy for everyone. Now listen to this one. I am not happy with this situation. The second sentence is simple. The meaning is clear. The listener understands it immediately. This is especially important when you are speaking English. You may know a difficult word, but if you are not comfortable using it, it can make your speech sound unnatural. You may stop in the middle of your sentence because you are trying to remember the word. Then your confidence disappears. There's nothing wrong with using simple words. In fact, simple words often make you sound more natural. Think about how people speak in normal conversations. They usually do not use big words for every idea. They say things like, I need some help. I do not understand. Can you explain that? I agree with you. I do not think that is a good idea. These sentences are not difficult, but they are useful. You can use them every day. There is another important habit. Try to communicate one main idea at a time. When you have too many ideas in your head, you may put them all into one sentence. The sentence becomes long. You lose your main point. The person listening to you may not know what you're trying to say. For example, instead of saying, I wanted to go there yesterday because I thought it would be a good opportunity for me, but I was busy and then my friend called me and we had to talk about something important, so I could not go. You can make it much easier. I wanted to go there yesterday. It was a good opportunity, but I was busy. Then my friend called me, so I could not go. The meaning is almost the same, but now the listener can follow every idea. Short sentences also give you more control when you speak. You have time to breathe. You have time to think. You are less likely to get lost. This can also make your English sound more confident. There is a simple question you can ask yourself before speaking. Can I say this in an easier way? This question can change your communication. You do not need to replace every sentence. Just look for places where you are making the message harder than it needs to be. You can practice this with your daily conversations. Choose one sentence you often use. Then try to make it shorter. For example, instead of saying, "I am of the opinion that this is something we should consider carefully," simply say, "I think we should think about this carefully." You're not losing your intelligence. You are making your message easier to receive. Clear speech also means choosing words that match the person in front of you. The way you speak to a close friend may not be the same as the way you speak to a teacher or a manager. Good communication is flexible. You notice the situation and choose words that fit it. And remember something important. If someone does not understand you, it does not always mean their English is weak. Your message may simply need to be clearer. Instead of repeating the same complicated sentence again and again, try saying it in a different way. You can say, "Let me explain it another way." Then use simpler words. This is a powerful skill because it takes pressure away from you. You no longer need to search for the perfect word. You can focus on the meaning. You can explain an idea with the English you already know. But clear words are only one part of strong communication. You can choose simple words and still lose people's attention if you speak too quickly. Many English learners do this without noticing. They believe fast English sounds fluent, so they push every word out as quickly as possible. The result is often the opposite. Words become unclear, pronunciation becomes weaker. The listener misses important parts. Your goal is not to speak faster. Your goal is to make every important word easy to catch. That means learning when to slow down, when to pause, and how to give your words enough space. Because sometimes the strongest speaker in the room is not the person who speaks the fastest. It is the person whose words are easiest to understand. Skill 3. Slow down and speak clearly. There is a strange habit many English learners develop. They think speaking fast means speaking fluently. So when they start talking, the words come out quickly. One sentence moves into another. There is almost no pause. They are trying to sound fluent, but the listener is trying to catch every word. Sometimes the speaker knows exactly what they want to say, but the other person still says, "Sorry, can you say that again?" Speaking faster does not always make your English better. Sometimes it makes your message weaker. When you slow down, you give your words room. You give yourself time to think. You give the other person time to understand. This does not mean speaking like every word is separate. It means finding a comfortable speed where your words are clear and natural. Think about someone telling you an important story. If that person speaks very quickly, you may understand the first few sentences. Then you miss one word. After that, you miss another. Soon, you are no longer following the story. You are trying to guess what the person means. Now think about the same story with small pauses. You can follow it much more easily. You can understand the important parts. You can enjoy the conversation. The same thing happens when you speak English. Your listener needs a little time to process your words. This is even more important when the person is also learning English. A clear speaker does not make the listener struggle. One simple habit can help you immediately. Pause between ideas. Not after every word. Not after every sentence. Just when one idea finishes and another begins. For example, say, "I wanted to call you yesterday, but I was very busy." That small pause makes the sentence easier to understand. You can also say, "I agree with you, but I have one concern." The pause gives the listener a moment to prepare for the second idea. Do not be afraid of silence. Many people become nervous when there is silence in a conversation. They think they must fill every second with words. That is why they speak too quickly. But a short silence is normal. It can make you sound calm. It can also help you choose better words. Your breathing has a role here too. When you feel nervous, your breathing can become fast. Your voice may become tight. You may run out of air before finishing a sentence. Take a comfortable breath before you speak. Then start. You do not need to push every word out at once. There is another part of clear speaking that many people forget. It is emphasis. Some words in a sentence are more important than others. Your voice can help the listener notice them. Take the sentence, "I really need your help." If you put more energy on really, the listener feels the importance. If you stress your, the meaning can sound different. You do not need to study complicated speaking rules to use this skill. Simply think about the main word in your sentence and give it a little more attention. Try this with a simple sentence. "I need this today." Say it normally. Then say it again and make today slightly stronger. The listener immediately understands that the time is important. Your voice does not have to sound like a native speaker's voice. That is not the goal. You do not need a perfect accent. You need clear pronunciation and a comfortable pace. If someone can understand you without asking you to repeat yourself all the time, you are doing something right. You can improve this with a very simple exercise. Take your phone and record yourself speaking for 30 seconds. Talk about your day. Do not prepare a speech. Just speak naturally. Then listen to the recording. Notice your speed. Do your words sound rushed? Do you swallow some sounds? Do you pause at all? Are some words much clearer than others? Do not judge yourself harshly. You are not recording yourself to find reasons to feel bad. You are listening so you can improve one small thing at a time. Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe you need to speak louder. Maybe your words are clear, but your sentences need better pauses. Pick one thing and practice it again. After a few days, you may notice something interesting. When you slow down, you may actually feel more confident. You have more time to think. You are not fighting against your own speed. Your words feel more controlled. The listener also has an easier time following you. There is a deeper lesson here. Good communication is not about giving the listener as many words as possible. It is about giving them the right words at the right speed. But even perfect speed and clear pronunciation cannot save a conversation if you are only thinking about your own words. Communication has another side. You need to understand the person who is speaking to you. You need to hear what they are saying instead of preparing your answer while they talk. That is where communication becomes much more powerful. A person who knows how to speak clearly can get attention. A person who also knows how to listen can build a real connection. Skill 4. Listen before you speak. There is a simple mistake people make in conversations. Someone is talking, but they are not really listening. Their ears can hear the words, but their mind is somewhere else. They are already preparing their answer. They are thinking about what story they will tell next. They are waiting for the other person to stop so they can start talking. This happens more often than we realize. Good communication is not only about speaking well, it is also about knowing when to stop speaking and start listening. Think about a conversation with a friend. Your friend says, "I had a really difficult day today." You could immediately say, "My day was difficult too." Now the conversation has moved back to you. But there is another response that can change everything. You could simply ask, "What happened?" Those two words show interest. They tell the person that you care about what they are saying. This is a powerful skill for English learners too. When you listen carefully, you get more time to understand the conversation. You do not need to think about your answer while the other person is still speaking. You can focus on their meaning, then you can respond naturally. Sometimes people feel pressure to answer immediately. They think a pause means their English is weak. That is not true. A short pause is completely normal. You can take a moment and think. You can say, "Let me think about that." You can say, "That is an interesting question." These simple phrases give you time while keeping the conversation comfortable. Listening also means paying attention to more than words. Notice the person's tone. Notice their emotion. Someone can say, "I am fine," but their voice may sound tired. Their face may look worried. Their words say one thing, but their emotion may say something else. A good listener notices these small signals. You do not need to become an expert at reading people. Just pay attention. If someone sounds upset, you can ask, "Is everything okay?" If someone seems excited, you can say, "You seem really happy today." Small questions can make a conversation feel much more personal. There is another habit that can make a big difference. Do not interrupt too quickly. You may think you already know what the person is going to say. You may even have a better answer in your mind. Still, give them time to finish. Sometimes the most important part of what they want to say comes at the end. When you interrupt, you can accidentally send a message. You can make the other person feel that their words are not important. When you wait, you show respect. You are saying without words, "I am listening to you." You can also show that you are listening with small responses. Say, "I see." Say, "Right." Say, "I understand." Say, "That makes sense." These are simple English expressions, but they help the other person feel that you are present in the conversation. Then ask questions that connect with what they said. If someone tells you, "I started a new job," do not immediately change the subject. Ask, "How is the new job?" Or, "Do you like it?" Now the conversation has somewhere to go. This does not mean you should ask questions like an interviewer. Keep it natural. Listen to the answer, then respond to what you heard. There is also a benefit that many people do not notice. Listening can make you a better speaker. When you listen to people, you learn how they explain things. You hear useful phrases. You notice how they tell stories. You learn what makes a conversation comfortable. Every conversation becomes a small lesson. For English learners, this is especially useful. Instead of trying to memorize hundreds of sentences from a book, pay attention to real conversations. Notice how people greet each other. Notice how they agree. Notice how they disagree politely. Notice how they ask questions. Then use those patterns in your own conversations. But there is something deeper behind all of this. People want to feel understood. They want to feel that their thoughts matter. They want someone to listen without judging them too quickly. When you give someone that feeling, they become more comfortable around you. They may remember that conversation for a long time, and this changes the way people listen to you too. When you listen to someone properly, they are often more willing to listen when it is your turn to speak. You create trust before asking for attention. So the next time someone is talking to you, do not rush to prove that you have something smart to say. Stay with their words. Give them your attention. Ask one good question. Let them finish. You may discover that conversations become easier. You may also notice that people start opening up to you more, but there is one more step. Listening tells you what a person is saying. Strong communication goes deeper. You also need to understand what matters to that person. Once you know that, your words can become much more meaningful. And that is where the real power of communication begins. Skill 5. Know what people care about. A conversation becomes much stronger when you stop thinking only about what you want to say. You start thinking about the person in front of you. What do they need? What are they worried about? What are they excited about? What is important to them right now? When you understand these things, your words become more meaningful. Think about a simple example. You want your friend to exercise more. You could say you should exercise because it is healthy. That sounds fine, but your friend may not care much about being healthy. Now suppose your friend often feels tired. You could say a little exercise may help you feel more energetic. The idea is almost the same, but the message feels different. You connected your words to something that matters to that person. This is one of the biggest differences between talking and communicating. Talking means putting words into the conversation. Communicating means making those words useful to the person who hears them. You can use this skill in English conversations too. Before you start explaining something, think about the person listening to you. If you are talking to a student, you may give a simple example from school. If you are talking to someone at work, you may focus on time, results, or problems. If you are talking to a friend, you may use a more relaxed style. The message can stay the same, but the way you present it can change. This does not mean you should pretend to be someone else. It does not mean you should manipulate people. It simply means you are paying attention. You are showing that the conversation is not only about you. A very useful habit is asking questions. Simple questions can tell you a lot about another person. You can ask, "What do you think?" You can ask, "What are you looking for?" You can ask, "What is important to you?" You can ask, "How can I help?" These questions are easy English, but they can open much deeper conversations. There's something else you should notice. People often talk about their problems without saying exactly what they need. Someone may say, "I am so tired of my job." They may not want advice. They may simply want someone to listen. If you immediately say, "You should find another job," you may miss what they really need. A better response could be, "It sounds like you're having a hard time." Then wait. Let them speak. Maybe they will explain more. This is where the listening skill from the previous lesson becomes important. You cannot understand what matters to someone if you are not paying attention to what they say. Good communication works like a bridge. On one side, there is your idea. On the other side, there is the other person's mind. Your job is to build a bridge between the two. Sometimes that bridge needs simple words. Sometimes it needs an example. Sometimes it needs a question. Sometimes it needs silence. You also need to understand that people have different reasons for making decisions. One person may care about money. Another may care about time. Someone else may care about safety. Another person may care about respect. If you do not understand what matters to them, you may give them a perfect answer to the wrong problem. For example, imagine you are trying to convince someone to take an English course. You say, "This course has many lessons." That may not interest them. You learn that they need English for a job interview. Now you can say, "This can help you practice the English you may need for your interview." The message becomes personal. It connects with a real goal. This skill can also help you in everyday English. When someone tells you something, do not always bring the conversation back to yourself. If they say, "I finally passed my exam," do not immediately say, "I passed mine too." First say, "That is great. You must be happy." Then ask, "How did you prepare?" You are giving their moment to them. That small change can make you a much better communicator. There is also a powerful lesson about influence here. People are more open to an idea when they can see why it matters to them. You do not need to force anyone. You do not need to argue. You simply explain the idea in a way that connects with their situation, and this is useful far beyond normal conversations. It can help you in interviews, meetings, presentations, friendships, family conversations, and even difficult discussions. But understanding people does not mean every conversation will be easy. Sometimes you understand exactly what the other person needs, but your own emotions become too strong. You become angry. You feel hurt. You become nervous. Your heart starts beating faster, and suddenly the calm words disappear. This is when many people say things they do not really mean. Strong communication is not only about knowing what to say, it is also about knowing when your emotions are trying to speak for you. When you learn to control that moment, your communication becomes much stronger. Your words stay clear even when the situation becomes difficult. And that brings us to a skill that can change the way you handle arguments, pressure, and uncomfortable conversations. You cannot always control what people say to you, but you can learn to control what comes out of your mouth. Skill 6. Control your emotions. Sometimes you know exactly what you want to say, but the moment becomes difficult. Someone says something that hurts you. Someone disagrees with you. Someone speaks to you in a rude way. Suddenly your calm voice disappears. You speak faster. Your voice becomes louder. You say words that you did not plan to say. A few minutes later, you feel bad about it. You think, "Why did I say that?" This is where emotional control becomes an important communication skill. Being emotionally strong does not mean you never get angry. It does not mean you never feel nervous or hurt. You are human. These feelings will come. The real skill is learning how to respond when they arrive. Think about an argument. Someone says, "You never listen to me." Your first reaction may be, "That is not true. You never listen to me either." Now both people are defending themselves. Nobody is listening. The conversation becomes a fight. There is another way to respond. You can take a breath and say, "I understand that you feel I am not listening. Tell me what I missed." That sentence does not mean you agree with everything. It simply gives you control over your response. That small difference can change the whole conversation. When emotions become strong, we often react before we think. Our body becomes tense. Our heart may beat faster. We feel pressure to answer immediately. This is why a short pause can be so useful. You do not have to answer every sentence the moment you hear it. Take 3 seconds, breathe, then speak. 3 seconds may feel like nothing, but those 3 seconds can stop an angry reaction from becoming a painful conversation. You can also use simple English phrases when you need time. Say, "Give me a moment to think." Say, "I want to explain this clearly." Say, "I understand your point." Say, "I am upset right now, so I want to speak calmly." These sentences are simple, but they give you control. There is another mistake people make when they are angry. They use words like always and never. You always do this. You never care. You never listen. These words can make the other person defensive because they sound like an attack. Even if you are upset for a good reason, the other person may stop listening because they feel blamed. Try to talk about the specific situation instead. Instead of saying, "You never listened to me," you can say, "I felt ignored when I was speaking earlier." Instead of, "You always make me angry," you can say, "I felt upset when you said that." The second style is calmer. It tells the person what happened and how you felt without attacking their whole character. This is useful in English because it also gives you simple sentence patterns that you can remember. You do not need complicated vocabulary during an emotional conversation. Simple words are often better. I felt hurt. I was disappointed. I do not agree. I need some time. Please let me finish. I understand what you mean. These sentences can protect a conversation when emotions are high. Your tone matters too. You can say the right words in the wrong way. Fine, whatever. I don't care. The words are simple, but your tone can make them sound angry or cold. Good communication is not only about vocabulary. Your voice, face, and attitude also carry a message. This is why calmness is powerful. A calm person does not need to win every argument. They do not need to answer every insult. They do not need to prove that they are right every second. They can step back when the conversation is becoming useless. Sometimes the strongest sentence is, "I think we should talk about this when we are both calm." That is not weakness. That is control. You also need to understand that controlling your emotions does not mean accepting bad behavior from others. You can be calm and still have boundaries. You can say, "I do not appreciate being spoken to like that." You can disagree. You can leave a conversation that has become disrespectful. Calm communication does not mean becoming silent. It means choosing your response instead of allowing your emotions to choose it for you. You can practice this outside difficult conversations. Notice what happens inside you when someone annoys you. Maybe your face becomes hot. Maybe you start speaking quickly. Maybe you want to interrupt. Notice these signs early. When you recognize them, slow down. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. And something beautiful happens when you learn this skill. People begin to trust your words more. They know that you will not explode when things become difficult. They know you can disagree without becoming disrespectful. They feel safer talking to you. That is real communication strength. But there is still one final piece missing. You can speak confidently. You can use simple words. You can speak clearly. You can listen. You can understand what people care about. You can control your emotions. Still, people may forget what you said 5 minutes later. The final skill is about making your words stay in their minds. Because being heard is good. Being understood is better. But being remembered is where your words can truly make a difference. Skill 7. Make your words powerful. Some people speak very little, but you remember what they said for a long time. Other people can talk for 10 minutes, but a few minutes later, you cannot remember a single sentence. The difference is not always vocabulary. It is not always grammar. Sometimes, it is the way they express an idea. Powerful communication is not about using big words. It is about giving people something they can understand, feel, and remember. Think about the sentence, "You should never give up." It is a good message, but people hear it all the time. Now change it a little. When you feel like stopping, take one more step. The idea is still simple, but it feels more real. You can almost see yourself taking that one extra step. This is what makes words powerful. They create a clear picture in the listener's mind. You can do the same thing when you speak English. You do not need advanced vocabulary. You need clear ideas and real examples. If you want to explain why practice is important, do not only say, "Practice makes you better." Tell a small story. Say, "The first time I spoke English, I made many mistakes. I stopped after a few sentences, but I kept practicing. After a few months, I could speak much longer without fear." Now the listener has something to connect with. Stories are powerful because people understand situations naturally. They can see the problem. They can understand the struggle. They can follow the decision. Then they can see the result. Your story does not need to be long. In fact, short stories are often easier to follow. You can tell a simple story in 4 parts. Start with a problem. Explain what happened. Show the decision. Then give the result. For example, I was afraid to speak English at work. One day I had to speak in front of 3 people. My hands were shaking, but I decided to continue. I made some mistakes, but everyone understood me. After that day, I became less afraid. The English is simple, but the message is strong. Another way to make your words powerful is to be specific. General words can sound weak because they do not give the listener enough information. Instead of saying, "You need to work harder," say, "Spend 20 minutes every day practicing one speaking skill." Now the listener knows exactly what to do. Instead of saying, "Be confident," say, "Speak even when you're not sure that every sentence is perfect." That gives the person something they can actually practice. This is especially useful for English learners. When you speak, do not worry about sounding impressive. Try to make your message useful. If someone asks for advice, give them something they can use today. If someone is worried, give them a calm response. If someone does not understand you, explain the idea in another way. If someone tells you a problem, show that you listened before giving advice. Your words become powerful when they have a purpose. There is also a small secret in the way you finish a sentence. Important ideas often become stronger when you keep them short. You do not need perfect English. You need the courage to use the English you know. That sentence is easy to understand. It is also easy to remember. You can practice this skill by taking one idea every day and explaining it in 3 sentences. Keep the words simple. Give one example. Finish with one clear message. This will improve your English and your communication at the same time. And remember the skills you have learned throughout this lesson. Confidence helps people notice your voice. Simple words help them understand you. A calm pace helps them follow you. Listening helps you understand them. Knowing what people care about makes your message relevant. Emotional control helps you speak clearly when things become difficult. Now you have the full picture. A strong communicator does not simply talk more. A strong communicator knows what to say, how to say it, when to pause, when to listen, and how to make the message matter. You do not need perfect grammar to become that person. You do not need a perfect accent. You do not need thousands of difficult words. You need practice. Every conversation gives you a chance to improve. The next time you speak English, do not only think about whether your grammar is correct. Think about the person listening to you. Are your words clear? Are you speaking at a comfortable speed? Are you listening? Does your message connect with what they care about? Are you calm enough to choose your words carefully? These small questions can change the way you communicate. Start with one skill. Practice it today. Then work on another tomorrow. Slowly, the way you speak will change. You will feel less nervous. Your words will come more naturally. You will listen better. You will explain your ideas more clearly. And one day, you may notice something that you were hoping for from the beginning. People are not asking you to repeat yourself. They are not looking away. They are listening. Not because your English is perfect, but because your words are clear. Your voice has confidence, and what you are saying matters. If this lesson helped you speak English with more confidence and communicate more clearly, subscribe to Real English Fluency. Like this video if you found it useful, and share it with someone who is learning English too. Now tell me in the comments, which of these 7 communication skills do you need to improve the most? Is it confidence, clear words, speaking slowly, listening, understanding people, controlling emotions, or making your words powerful? Your answer may help someone else who is facing the same problem. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, you do not need perfect English to make people listen. You need clear words, a calm voice, and the courage to speak.